Today we got a pair of speakers here that I'm going to take a look at for a friend. They're church speakers, which I don't know if you've heard that term before, but a lot of times some of these old speakers will just get pulled out of an old church when they retrofit everything or restore everything or upgrade everything. And when they do that, a lot of times some really neat old speakers will either get thrown away or hopefully go on to a collector to take a look at. These ones are interesting. I've never heard of this brand before. It says Allied on the badge. Taking a look at the back, we can see that first off, I think that these speakers were designed to be listened to like this. But based on this makeshift pegboard somebody cut and put on the bottom of this one, I assume that they were using them upright. Not exactly sure what the purpose of the pegboard is. Maybe it's covering up some ugly, maybe it's I don't know, some utility in the church where they were putting things on it or something, I don't know. But looks like just based on the baffle here, which I don't think this one comes off. It appears like we have a 12-inch woofer and a horn tweeter, so these could be some really neat sounding speakers. Taking a look at the back, first thing I notice is that all the badging is gone. There is some numbers on here. They don't appear to belong to frequencies or anything, so I'm not exactly sure what those numbers are. Probably a serial number or something like that. There are what appear to be high frequency and mid frequency L-pads. The knobs are not turning, so apparently those might be corroded on the inside and need to be cleaned up. There's also not an indication as to which is positive and which is negative. So we're going to be kind of guessing when we go for polarity here to give these things a try, but I figure might as well throw them up, turn them on, and see what happens. So we're going to do that right now and take a listen. I don't know what the polarity is on these connectors, but I'm going to at least be consistent in how they're hooked up. My little hi-fi restoration and testing area. I've just got a few old pieces of equipment. I've got an old CD changer, an old Pioneer receiver, pretty much my primary testing receiver, which is amplifier, which is a Denon PMA 520 integrated amplifier from the 1980s. Fantastic sounding amplifier that I got for $40 on Craigslist. I really feel like if you're looking for a bargain on just a beginning hi-fi amplifier, find one of these Denons from the 80s. They go pretty cheap. I've seen several black-faced Denons from the 80s under $50 on Craigslist and Facebook. So great one to start off with if you're looking for a good quality sounding amplifier, inexpensive. I've got another little amplifier here, a cheapie off of Amazon. It's like $120, 80 watts per channel. It's got A and B speakers, and it's got automatic power off, so I like to use that because I don't have to worry about turning it on. I can just start streaming to my Denon Hios unit here, and it will just click on. And that's the last piece of equipment that I have here on the pile. It's a Denon Hios preamplifier that I got. I think they retail for $300, and I got it for like $100, I think. That's great. The nice thing about that is I have Amazon Music HD, and I can send FLAC high definition audio directly to this from my phone or from my computer. So it's a really nice device. It fits in nicely with my ecosystem here. I've got a Marantz receiver for my home theater and a Marantz amplifier upstairs that both support Hios. So I can send music directly to any of those systems right from my phone, which is a really convenient, nice thing. The Amazon HD music is really good sounding. I'm a big fan. I know a lot of people like Tidal and a lot of people like Qobuz. I think those are good services too. I've tried Tidal. I have not tried Qobuz, but I think Cobas might be a better option if you're into more jazz and classical. I think Title's probably a better choice if you're into more R&B and hip hop and that type. And then I think Amazon Music HD is just a good all-around service. But with my Marantz stuff, the Heo stuff has worked really well for me, and with Amazon Music, so I've just been sticking with that. So I'll go ahead and get this hooked up a minute. Okay, we got those hooked up. I just powered up my amplifier. You can see my Heos is finding the wireless network, and it'll be ready to go here in a second. And I'll just play a couple of segments from tracks that I use for testing speakers generally, so we can hear how they sound. I'll start with the volume quite low, just so if there's any bad noises, we can stop it right away. Alright, right off the bat, it sounds like the tweeters are not working. I'm guessing that there's probably a capacitor issue inside the crossover. So we're going to open that up, take a look. The woofers sound real good though. No joy on that, but the woofers sound great. They don't sound like they have any voice coil problems. They don't sound like they need refoaming at all. So I'm really encouraged. I think this is probably going to be a pretty easy fix. Okay, now that we have these open, we can see that what we have on the inside is actually a three-way horn design. Just a 12-inch woofer, and then a mid-range horn and a horn tweeter. Pretty impressed with these speakers right off the bat. You know, they're obviously meant to be a high-volume PA type speaker for a church environment, but I tell you, I really like the horn sound, and these have some potential. They're definitely worth putting some work in to see how they sound. So, first glance, it looks like the connections to the tweeters and the mid-rangers are intact. Everything on the inside looks as it's supposed to be. So, probably what we're dealing with here is some kind of bad connection in the crossover network. Possibly with these attenuators. We'll find out by getting out the multimeter, doing some probing, and I think I might actually take an amplifier and hook them up to these drivers individually and test them and see at low volumes just to make sure that they're functional. Next thing to check is this crossover network. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to record any more video of those speakers before I had to send them off. They were my buddy's speakers, and I enjoyed working on them and listening to them for a while, but I was also anxious to get them back to him because he lives on the other side of the county, and I had an opportunity to go over there after I got them fixed, so I wanted to drop them off that day. So I didn't get a chance to record any more video of the speakers, but I did want to say that I did misspeak in the first part. Those are actually potentiometers, not L-pads. And investigating the crossover network, I found that the capacitors were no good. I did find suitable replacement capacitors on Parts Express. So I ordered new capacitors and I replaced those. That's a fairly simple process of you look on the side of the capacitor. It has a value in UF, which is microfarads. You just take that value, you go to Parts Express or another electronic supplier and find suitable close replacements for those capacitors. And in both cases, they were close enough. I think one of the capacitors was 13 microfarads, and I replaced it with a 12, which is close enough. It does change the crossover frequency a little bit, but not enough to worry about. And the potentiometers were completely frozen solid. I tried disassembling one and I could not get it to come back to life. So what I did to replace those was I measured the impedance between the middle pin on the potentiometer and one of the outer pins on the potentiometer to get a impedance rating, which was around 54 ohms it measured at. So when you replace those potentiometers, you want to try to get one that has a similar impedance. I was able to find 50 ohm impedance potentiometers on Mouser.com, which is a Canadian company. So I had those shipped in. So it was about $40 to $50 in parts. And then with those new parts soldered in, the speakers came to life. I have another video with the sound demo. Please check that out if you want to hear how they sound. They sound very good. I did try bypassing the capacitor or the potentiometers at first with the new capacitors just to see how they would sound without the potentiometers, but at full blast on the horns, it was really shrill. It was not a pleasant sound, very fatiguing to the ears. So they needed those potentiometers to allow you to dial in the volume of the tweeter in the mid-range. So got those potentiometers in, hooked them up, got them dialed in. It was like 50% on the mid-range and 70 to 80% on the dial on the tweeters, and they really sounded great. Check out my listening video. The listening video is the quality is okay. The microphone did not. It was bouncing off of red line on the levels, so it's not a great audio recording. I've got some new equipment coming. I purchased a digital audio recorder that I'm going to be using for these videos in the future. So look for the audio to improve a little bit on future videos. But yeah, those speakers were fun. I was able to through audiokarma.org. Those guys are great. If you're working on a set of speakers and you have any questions, please just create an account at AudioKarma and ask. Those guys are awesome. They provided me with so much good information. They were helpful in finding replacement parts, speccing out the right replacement capacitors and potentiometers. So those guys were great, and thank you to you guys that participated in that thread. Yeah, I mean, it sounded really good. I was really pleased. It was an honor to have them in my house for a while and get a chance to spend a few hours listening to them. I was able to, through those guys on AudioKarma, find those speakers in a catalog, a Radio Shack catalog. Allied Radio became part of Radio Shack, and so is the Radio Shack catalog still carried Optimus and stuff, and the Allied Radio stuff for a while. Most of those Allied speakers have a paper cone tweeter. So those 2373s were, I think, a pretty unique speaker. They, I don't think they probably sold a lot of them. But my buddy's got him hooked up to his Pioneer. I believe it is a 979 receiver, SX 979, or is it 939? Whatever. And he's got them in his bedroom and is loving them. So that's about it on the Allied speakers. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please check out my sound demo videos. There should be 2 of them, if I don't get a copyright strike on Tin Pan Alley. I love Tin Pan Alley by Stevie Ray Vaughan. That is a great song for testing speakers. You get a lot of bass, you get a lot of presence, almost like a live performance kind of echo reverb, and it's a great song for testing speakers, especially vintage speakers. So if you're looking to hear how vintage speakers should sound, that's a great song. That's it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching, and take care. See you next time.